This is video 3, starting from where we left off on stress and mental health factors. There's just that it contributes to food insecurity, contributes to stress and poor mental health, and that is a risk for weight gain. Those resources that we talked about, especially the low incomes, and weight gain results from stress-induced hormone changes, poor eating habits, and physical inactivity. So just kind of how it affects the brain. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal cortisol that increases insulin and cortisol levels, which leads to weight gain over and obesity. I just thought that was kind of how it works here in our brain. So food insecurity and obesity among youth. I touched on this just earlier briefly. There's just they haven't shown a lot of food insecurity versus with youth, but more studies have shown another link. So it's kind of, the data at this point is a little bit inconclusive and is being studied more and more. So it does show that it has a lot to do with how they're raised and factors like that. So and it does link to that, even if they don't have an insecure household, they do tend to be overweight as well. So they definitely there's some more work to be looked into, especially among the youth. But we know that obesity in the youth is on the rise. So 70% of adolescents, 70 to 80, they say, and about a third of children are overweight or obese at this time. So this is a huge epidemic, and there's that link when the kids, same as adults. Different studies have shown that when they don't know where their next meal is coming from, when they do get fed, that they do overeat. So I focused primarily on adults. One study in particular, that it did show that there is that huge link between food insecurity and being overweight, especially among mothers, where it's more predominant because they tend to have those higher levels of cortisol and things like that. So there's 32% greater odds of being obese compared with those people that are food secure. Not as much in men though. So within the female population is that link of the same study. There's definitely a huge link between food insecurity and weight change among women, food insecure women, and they're twice as likely to experience gestational diabetes during pregnancy as well. So just how this affects women's health, kind of those same issues we've seen before. A big cause of this is diabetes, the heart attacks, and a huge prevalence of cancer as well in women. So along with that, kind of mentioned this, the food deprivation and overeating, that binge eating, and they have to eat, stretch those food budgets, those ups and downs, those chronic, times of lots of food and times of none, contributes to weight gain. It's in a disordered eating, behaviors, unhealthy preoccupation with food, metabolic changes, when our body is in that, preservation mode, that tends to promote more fat storage, and then they get food and they overeat, which just ultimately leads to more fat storage in the body. And it's just a problem with serving sizes, the availability of cheap, energy dense foods in low income communities that have these food insecurities. So I've kind of mentioned it's not just an urban problem anymore. We are seeing that increase among rural areas as well. It is just epidemic, rural and urban. And there's a study that shows that low-income youth and adults are exposed so much more to more marketing and advertising to obesity promoting products. So fast food, sugary food, on television shows, video games, and so that's leading to that influence of preferences and diets among kids and adults, and especially in those low-income areas, those urban areas. So with this, I just thought this video was pretty neat, so I'm gonna play this for you. Oops, sorry. Oh. One moment, I apologize. Let's try this again. Sorry about that.
Food insecurity is not being certain where your next meal is going to come from. The people that come to the City Square Food Pantry are all over Dallas-Fort Worth. We provide enough groceries and food supplies for people and families to go a couple weeks without worrying about where their next meal is going to come from. We want to be really careful that we're not just trying to address a hunger issue, but we're also trying to address a nutrition issue. We want to make sure that not only do they have access to food, but they have access to healthy food as well. At least we're trying to change, people's lifestyles and, encourage healthy living. The problem is right now, healthy food is pretty expensive. So we've got to figure out a way not just to have access to food, but to make it affordable. We're seeing that especially with children in schools, with energy, with attention, being unable to focus because they're so hungry. There's all kinds of anxiety that falls within that. I think the opportunity to partner with NOSHA presents some real interesting possibilities for our neighbors that are food insecure. So one thing that I thought was interesting about NOSHA was the simplicity of it. You can put it in a shaker bottle, add some water, and you've got a really nutritious and healthy supplement, for a meal if need be. We noticed that there's a deep appreciation for and desire for healthy food from the neighbors that come to the food pantry here at City Square. They know that it's important, and they know that they need this. They're willing to try something they may not know about. What NOSHA provides is opportunity to literally put a pouch in somebody's hands that they can take, that they can put in a water bottle or a blender bottle, or they can put into something else, and then they can take it right there. I think that's just really remarkable.
Okay, so I just thought that was a really neat video, and just showing that this is a problem, not only within the U.S. but everywhere, and they are, working on different things to fix this. So, conclusion, I hope this presentation was helpful and informative, and that you saw the evidence has shown that link between food insecurity and obesity / binge eating. So, as obesity rates continue to rise, in our population, further studies need to be conducted and plans of action to be in place to stop this epidemic. It is definitely getting worse and worse every year, and affecting, especially the youth and adults in this nation. And as a woman, it's definitely a problem that affects a lot of women. And those low-income areas are definitely hit the hardest, but it's gaining speed in those rural areas as well. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And so I hope you enjoyed this, and then just a list of resources, and the images were from Google. I think that's cut off there at the bottom. And thank you.